What's happening down there? I'm trying to explain this to the people as easy as I can. Um, Back when I was born in a small town, Ardmore, Oklahoma, and small ass town. And but I was kind of partly raised in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I had family in both areas, and it seemed like every year I was at a different school. I was probably either at a school in Ardmore or either at a school in Tulsa. You know, person once joked that my mom moved every time she had to pay the rent, and it kind of seemed like that. You know what I'm saying? We was very poor. Grew up kind of indigent, and so in the third grade, I moved to San Jose, California. Now, I had met these my cousins or whoever my mom connected to in San Jose, California, because I can't really say they were our blood family, and maybe they were. And I remember them saying something about Hoover, Raymond Crip, and all that old type shit, and they were showing me the signs and all that old type shit, and so I kind of like gravitated towards what they were talking about, because my growing up, if you ever been in Tulsa, Oklahoma, I'm from the Turley area, and Morning Star Projects, Comanche, all these old projects, I grew up in out there. It's rough, you know what I'm saying? And so I was raised around pimps and hustlers and gangsters and shit like that. And I always wanted to be some type of gangster. And well, back up a little bit. My favorite color used to be red when I was a little kid. And my pimp stepdaddy, one day, we was at Quick Trip, he was pimping, had his hoes out there and everything, and he comes out the store with a blue sucker. It was them whistle suckers. I don't know if y'all remember them whistle suckers. This probably about 1973, somewhere around there, 73, 74. And he gave me that blue sucker, and that blue sucker was so good. It was like raspberry or whatever, I don't know, whatever that color was, but it was so good. And then I changed my color, my favorite color, to blue. And so that was my introduction to the color blue. I didn't know nothing about no Crips, no Bloods, none of that shit. I just liked it, the color blue. And so fast forward, when I moved to San Jose, when I met these so-called family members, they was talking Hoover and Raymond Crip. And I don't know how they knew about Hoover and Raymond Crip, because San Jose, California, they're 500 miles from LA. You know what I'm saying? And so I don't know if they were Hoovers or Raymonds, but that's all I was hearing. And also, I was around some Samoans who claimed Crips, and they were the SOS Sons of Samoa from San Jose, California. And I used to run with some of the youngsters, and they wasn't really Sons of Samoa, because we was only 9, 10, 11 years old, and run around with these Samoans and shit like that. But I used to kind of like idolize the SOS, you know what I'm saying, the Sons of Samoa. And I wasn't a son and shit, but I used to run with them. We used to go to their gang fights and watch them fight other motherfuckers and shit like that. So in this blue is being embedded in me on a whole different level. And so in Miami, Hoover and Raymond Crip was on my mind. It's been on my mind. So I end up going back, to Oklahoma. So I left Oklahoma in the third grade, and went to San Jose and met the airlines. Let me back that up. When I was third grade, because we was moving back and forth. When I was third grade, moved to San Jose, met the airlines. They was talking that Hoover Crip and all that old type shit. So we moved back to Oklahoma when I was in the fourth grade, and trying to get you guys caught up, because it's kind of confusing to me too. So I went back to Oklahoma. So now I got Hoover Crip on my mind. So I'm in the fourth grade talking this Hoover Crip shit in Ardmore, Oklahoma. They don't know nothing about no Crips and none of that shit. This was, fourth grade, I was 9 years old. This was 1978, 79 and shit. So they know nothing about none of that shit. And so in the fifth grade, we moved back to San Jose, California. And so we go back to San Jose, California. So now we're in the neighborhood with these SOS Crips. And so that's the Sons of Samoa, if you guys don't know. But so I'm running with the youngsters. We was too young to be in any gangs, but we was just around them and shit. We used to go to their gang fights and watch them fight and shit like that. We used to pop, lock, and dance with them and all this old type shit. But that's how I got so embedded into the Crip culture. And so that was in San Jose, California. And people don't know San Jose is like 500 miles from LA. And so, and so I end up going back to I ended up stabbing my mom's boyfriend, and the Crips was mad at us. The Crips that was down there, the black Crips was mad at us because I stabbed my mom's boyfriend and paralyzed him when I was 10, 11 years old. Might have been 12. And I stabbed my mom's boyfriend for beating on my mom. So we moved back to Oklahoma. Now I'm taking the Crippin' back to Oklahoma. Now I'm claiming Hoover Crip. Now I never seen a real Hoover. I never been in LA on Hoover, and the guy showed me how to throw it up, and I was throwing it up like that, and later on I found out that was Avalon. So how stupid was I? So I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. You know what I'm saying? But I knew I wanted to be a Crip or whatever, whatnot. So I go back to Oklahoma in 7th and 8th grade, take the Crippin' down there and turn some people on. Now they still Crips today, and still Crips right today. And in the 8th grade, end of the 8th grade year, I moved to Modesto. So when in Modesto, quite naturally, I gravitated towards the Crips. So they had some West Side Crips. Now I'm like a loner Crip, and I didn't have no set. I didn't claim no sets, nothing like that. I was just a Crip, and so, what I'm saying, I had a fight with this blood dude because he was claiming Crips. When Colors came out, he started claiming blood. He was a Crip with us first. He claiming blood. I fought him, and it was an even fight and shit, you know what I'm saying? And I don't think neither of us won, but everybody was surprised because they never seen me fight. Well, they did see me fight. I had to fight this one dude. He was claiming Hoover Crip. I was claiming Hoover Crip, who was the baddest. I got that story up in there, you know what I'm saying? And I had to give it to him in the Mexican meat market on who was the hardest Crip. This when I was in the 9th grade, 14 years old. And so after that, you know what I'm saying? But when I moved to Modesto, I had already met these cats called the 8-Ball Mob. And mind me, I wasn't even hanging with the Crips. It was I used to go to school, hang with them, and hang with the guys that were at school. And every now and then I did school and go with my partner D over there to Oak Street, and watch the Crips activity and shit like that. They were doing a lot of shooting and a lot of cripping going on over there. A lot of real cripping going on over there on Oak Street. And so I ended up start hanging with these 8-Ball Mob cats, and these 8-Ball Mob cats and shit, and they were more closer to how I was, cause I wasn't a segregated mind motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? It was just like, you know what I'm saying? I love everybody. You know what I'm saying? I always had a good heart, but I was a down motherfucker. I'd ride it. I'd beat your ass. I'd stab you. I'd shoot you. I just had this. They called me Super Flash at one point because I would flash hella fast and just go off. And I gotta calm that shit down and shit. I'm learning how to deal with that shit. But anyway, and so I started chilling with these 8-Ball Mob cats. And the 8-Ball Mob cats, they were no colors. And then, you know what I'm saying, their colors was the Raiders. You know what I'm saying? The Raiders was their colors and shit. So it wasn't no red or blue rags and shit like that. And I started chilling with the mob and shit real tough. And then later on, they jumped me in. And the Crips used to be kind of mad at the mob. It was always a thing that the Crips was gonna smash on them. I was still solo Cripping. I never claimed any set. I went down there claiming Hoover, and I stopped claiming Hoover when I found out that, that's not the thing to do. You know what I'm saying? I can't be talking to Hoover. I don't know no Hoovers. I ain't never got jumped in. I don't know nothing about it. So I just was calling myself a Crip. You know what I'm saying? Wearing blue and shit like that. And so, I didn't know nothing really about the culture until I moved to California. And so, so now I'm hanging with the 8-Ball Mob. So in the 8-Ball Mob, we got everything from Filipinos, Samoans, Asians, white boys, whatever. You know what I'm saying? In 8-Ball Mob, niggas and shit. And it was a whole melting pot of motherfuckers, and we was down to motherfucking, and we was one of the most hardest gangs in the whole area. And everybody know about the 8-Ball Mob. Remember, we brought the pain. You know what I'm saying? And we wasn't no shit starters. We'll come, you know what I'm saying, and knock shit down. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers start shit with us, and we come knock shit down. And that was just us. And so it was always some tension between us and the West Side Crips. We was on the East Side. And always some tension in the shit. And I didn't really understand what the tension was about. You know what I'm saying? Because a couple of people in the mob, you know what I'm saying, they was Crips too. You know what I'm saying? And so it was like I didn't understand what the tension was about. And so the leader of the Crips at that time, the leader of the young Crips at that time, he used to, you know what I'm saying, every time I see him, he would say something slick to me, like, you know what I'm saying, somebody said that dead saying, because I was wearing a red shirt, you know what I'm saying, he threw some shit on me. We was at a ballroom dance and shit, you know what I'm saying, the California ballroom, threw some shit at me and shit. And I was kind of scared of him. He was a tall dude, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of scared of him, tall dude, and he was known knocking niggas out and shit like that. I had a bad reputation and shit. And so I was kind of nervous of him and shit. And then one day he came to me and said something about me getting at his girl, and I didn't even know who the fuck his girl was, and I didn't understand where all this shit come from, because I didn't know his girl. You know what I'm saying? And so later on in the game, me and that cat got in a fight. You know, the shit hit the fan. We was in the park, me and him got in a fight, and beep, beep, beep. I came up with this big old dude. I was a little dude, man. This is a true story. I came up with him. You know, I wrestled too. You know what I'm saying? I got nice hands. And so I done lost a few fights. I ain't saying I'm the baddest nigga. You know what I'm saying? I lost a few. You know what I'm saying? But but I came up with the nigga. Came up with the nigga. Wasn't that? And so now my name's ringing. Now I'm smashing on motherfuckers who have problems with me. Now I'm feeling myself. And so my name is ringing and shit like that. But I'm still a lightweight, you know what I'm saying, claiming that I'm a Crip. I'm still wearing blue. I still wouldn't wear no red and shit like that. And so later in the game, you know what I'm saying, the leader of my 8-Ball Mob clique went to prison. And it shut the whole 8-Ball Mob down and shit like that. And it was just like, you know, what, no more 8-Ball Mob, you know what I'm saying? It just kind of disbanded. You know what I'm saying? We still mob for life and shit, but it just wasn't no more 8-Ball Mob and shit. You know what I'm saying? And so I started selling drugs. About 16 years old, I started selling cocaine. You know what I'm saying? And then, you know what I'm saying, I graduated into selling crack. Now, to get the crack off, I had to go to the west side of Modesto to get the crack off, because that's where all the crackheads was at. And so, you know, I got my crew over there, my 8-Ball Mob crew over there, and start, you know what I'm saying, selling dope over there, you know what I'm saying? I started hustling and shit. And so we didn't have no place to hustle and shit. So it was one place on the west side that just, you know what I'm saying, that we ended up moving to these apartments that we renamed Bedrock. And it's, you know what I'm saying, it's known as Bedrock right today. You know what I'm saying? And that we renamed Bedrock and shit, and we started selling dope. Now, mind me, I'm still, you know what I'm saying, got my little Crip thing going and shit, my solo Crip and shit, and I'm not claiming really nothing, but I'm just, you know, I'm just Cripping. I just got my blue on and shit like that. And then the Crips used to come from the other side. We got this thing called the other side of the lights, because, you know what I'm saying, the west side of town is kind of split by Paradise. This side is the blood side, this side is the Crip side and shit. And so the Crips used to come from the other side of the light and buy dope from us and shit, because we had fat dope. And the guy that I ended up fighting, the leader of the Crip, we ended up getting cool. You know what I'm saying? We ended up apologizing to each other and all this old shit, and, you know, everything was good. And later on in the game, his partner gets out of jail, you know what I'm saying, and announced to me, you know what I'm saying, kicking up dust, like, you know what I'm saying, this little nigga whooped your ass, we gotta go see these niggas about something. And the same nigga wanted to fight my little cousin. Make a long story short, the niggas jumped us and shit, and you know, after that, you know what I'm saying, I caught a body, you know what I'm saying, and attempted murders and shit. So I go to jail, you know what I'm saying, these stories, I go to jail fighting the murder and attempted murder case. They trying to give me 37 with an L, you know what I'm saying. I get, you know what I'm saying, later on I get out, I got acquitted, I get out. And my hood is kind of lightly turning to Bloods and shit, because we have Norteños around us. With the Norteños are the Mexicans from Northern California that wear the red. Had a lot of them around us, so, you know what I'm saying, a lot of my dudes started, you know what I'm saying, being some Norteños, kind of like, we can't be no Norteños. So, sorry about that. So, now my neighborhood is kind of like lightly turning to Bloods. I'm still holding the Crip thing down and shit, you know what I'm saying? And so, well, back it up a little bit. Before, after they jumped me and my cousin and shit like that, now it's murder on my mind. You know what I'm saying? I ain't never catching a murder case. It's murder on my mind. So next day I came to the hood flamed up and all red. Like, fuck y'all. You know what I'm saying? What I didn't know where all the hatred really was coming from them. You know what I'm saying? Later on I found out. I'm going to let you guys know. You know what I'm saying? If I can get back to it. But I didn't know what all the hatred was coming from and shit. You know what I'm saying? Because I never was really a part of them. I was just solo. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever, whatnot. And I wouldn't... You know what I'm saying? I didn't know all the hatred's from. You know what I'm saying? I was kind of hurt, you know what I'm saying, mentally and emotionally by these cats. Because I thought, you know what I'm saying, I thought I was cool with them and shit. But they ended up jumping me and murder was on my mind. I ended up catching a body after that. And I'm not proud of it. I don't want to talk about that, get into it. I had to buy my book for that. But, you know, hurt a lot of people with that. But other than that, go to jail, get out, you know, some niggas lightweight bleeding and shit. You know what I'm saying? So I get out and I need some breather and shit. So I'll go back to Oklahoma, because, you know, everybody's kind of like, you know, I'm out of jail. Everybody kind of nervous and you don't know what's going on and shit like that. My cats is kind of dibbling dabbling with the blood gang and shit, shit. And so I mean, when I was in jail for the murder case and shit, my nigga was sending me letters from YA. They was from YA, you know what I'm saying, with Barney Rubble, all this old shit, Bedrock, all of them. So, you know, you know what I'm saying, we Flintstones and shit. And so now, you know what I'm saying, they full-fledged banging Bedrock Bloods in YA and shit, you know what I'm saying? And so, okay, that's what it is, you know what I'm saying? But still, I wasn't really in tune with my niggas, you know what I'm saying, with joining this, just really calling myself a Blood. And so, so I go to California, you know what I'm saying, I go to Oklahoma, come back with a bag, and y'all listen to the story. Come back with a bag, and my niggas is flaming. You know what I'm saying? So slowly but surely, I started flaming and shit. And you know what I'm saying? And I've been flaming ever since. You know what I'm saying? Slowly but surely, I started flaming and shit like that because we was getting a lot of heat from the Crips and shit, and you know what I'm saying? And I just started flaming with my niggas, and just like that. And I wasn't really, I never was really with, you know what I'm saying, just really banging, wearing all the red rags and shit like that. But I was, when I was with the Crips, I was with the business or whatever. Whatever I was doing, I was with I'm always with the business and shit. I don't play, you know what I'm saying? And so I hope that better explains it. Now back to why they was mad at me. The Crips was mad at my crew and what they bought mob and shit, you know what I'm saying? And they really couldn't get none. I'm gonna just be honest. They couldn't get none. Mob, we was nasty. But anyway, they were mad, and I later find out because my partner, he did 30-something years in jail, you know what I'm saying, and he was around some of the Crips from Modesto and shit, and they used to talk. And you know, you go to prison in California, and you from Modesto, we got a small city, probably about 250,000, you know what I'm saying, a little give or take a few, you know what I'm saying. It's not so big. Not so big and shit. So when we go to California prisons, you know what I'm saying, it's hard for us to see anybody from our set or anybody from our town and shit like that. And if we see anybody out of town, we click up with them wherever they from and shit because it's only us type shit. And so my nigga, he was in prison. He clicked up with some of the Crips, you know what I'm saying, and they told him why the funk was like it was. And they was mad because I had joined the 8-Ball Mob. You know what I'm saying? They felt like I was a rider, that 8-Ball Mob took one of their riders, which was me, and they were mad about it. You know what I'm saying? And that's really the history of why I think why it happened. Because the dude, you know what I'm saying, was telling me I was fucking with his girl, but I didn't know his girl. You know what I'm saying? The Crip dudes and shit, I didn't know his girl. But later I just found out that it was just really because I had joined the 8-Ball Mob and they really wanted me to join the Crips, the WSGC. That's what they call it. They said West Side Gangsta Crips. And I hope that better explains it. And I don't know. I know it's a mouthful, but I hope that better explains it. And yeah, hope we can better understand. And to the cat I flashed on, I apologize, man. I'm trying to be a better man. I promise you. Rock B.